Welcome back, guys. We got the parts in for this Auburn gear center section. So as you can see, it comes with the new clutch pack. It's all like wired together in a way it has to go together. Same thing with the opposing side. And the rest of the stuff that came with the kit. Here's all the old stuff. The broken one. We're going to start the reassembly. I read through the instructions. I'll take you through it as I go. What I'm going to do first is remove the wire ties from this clutch pack and gear assembly, and put the clutches in some oil for a little bit, and then reassemble it exactly how you see it, and then we'll start putting the center section together. Alright, then once those are all saturated, essentially just going to reverse. Alright, now we take this assembly we just put back together. You'll see every other plate goes just like that. This is going to go up into the top. But following the instructions, we're going to put this through this opening here. And we're going to actually lift it up into place, but it can only go in a certain way. So it's going to get a little tricky here. You'll be able to look down those 3 holes. Now we're going to take and flip the carrier over. Alright, next they want us to make sure there's balls in here. We want to make sure they didn't move during shipping. So we're going to take off all these metal ties. Looks like we got 2 spacers again. Needle bearing. Another shim. So this goes down just like that. Those are the ball bearings. Suppose you let them fall center to the ramps. Put this piece on. Oh yeah, you can see. Hopefully you can see. So essentially you got to find the lowest point. And we're starting to see how this rear works. Center point. And we put these back on. Same way we took them off. I made this set of spacers because we're going to have to jack everything up in place. And this washer will fit down in this one nicely. Okay. So next, this is what they call the cone clutch. I don't know if you need to really mark all this the way I have done it, but I just want to do it for my own sanity. Just getting everything ready. This will slide in here like so. Should be able to hold this up in place like that. See if I can roll this all the way around. Okay, so I rolled that one all the way around. I do the same thing with this one. Looks like I'm straight across from each other. Yeah, that one's lined up. This one isn't, so we're like a tooth off. This one. I'm also trying to do this without pinching my fingers, if that makes sense. See how that lines up. Keep that. So as you seen what I was doing before, I was jacking that bolt. It's got two 17mm wrenches here. So get it on there. Got her pretty tight. So what that does, it essentially takes and compresses everything together, all the clutches, the little bit of oil that's in between the clutches, it kind of pushes everything out, kind of takes up some of that clearance, gives us more clearance to get this piece in. It's got two notches on this side. So once we get it all the way in, we could take and pull the washers out that we put in there. However, once we get this in so far, it's going to go until it hits the nuts and the bolt. And then I got to take that bolt out and we got to knock it the rest of the way in or press it the rest of the way in. So as long as we're spread enough, you should be able to take and start this in there like so. Just confirm that I'm doing it correctly. Will need to be accessible through the large rectangular window. Okay. Oh, okay. Almost did that wrong. All right. Remove the threaded rods, nuts, and washers. Finish installing the center block with a press or a suitable drift and mallet. We're going to just take and remove that. You see it's on the ledge now. There it goes. Alright, so now we got to knock that in the rest of the way. On the wood, like so, it should be pretty safe. Let's see how easy it moves with the mallet. Oh, it goes in pretty easy, guys. I mean, it's not super easy, by no means, but you see it is going in. But it's also turning as it's going, so I'm going to put this pin in there. Until she's straight. Looks like we gotta go in an even amount. Camera's getting a little too big for what I need it for. Ooh, there you go. Go until your hole lines up. We're gonna take this bolt back out. See how close we are to being centered. center bolt. This already has Loctite on it. So we're going to take it. Let me see what size it is. I think it's an 8mm. Now we're going to install this center bolt. Tighten her down and torque this back. Get her good and tight. There's our new center section. Essentially, that was what was broke. If we wanted to take a chance with the old gears at this point, I could take and put everything back together. Okay, here's the final center section reassembled. I got the new ring and pinion. We're going to put the ring gear onto the center section now. So something we want to check here is the depth of these holes and the length of the bolts and the width of the here. It's something I've seen many times come back to haunt people because the ring gear doesn't tighten up correctly. I just want to put this here. See how deep that hole is. It looks like it's bottom tapped, so it'll be close. We'll give it 750, 0.750. And the length of the bolt is giving me 7.740. All right, so it looks like we have plenty to work with. I'm gonna take all my bolts and put a little bit of blue Loctite on them. But what happens sometimes if the bolts are a little too long, it'll shift on here, which isn't good. I cleaned this in parts washer, blew it all out, made sure all the holes are blown out. Same thing with this one, it's not press fit at all. We're going to look up the torque spec on this and torque it to spec. Alright, so next we're going to set the pinion depth. I didn't remove the old pinion from the case yet. It's still in there. But if you look on the old pinion, it says 2.53. Well, that's the distance where this one should have been set from the factory. Well, the factory specs on the gears, when they put them in there, they ran in supposedly at the factory, and that's the pinion depth that they want you to run it at. So 2.53, that's off the center of the axle housing. So what I want to find is if these flats where the bearing housing bolts up, if these are center. If this flat is center. If so, then I can put a flat across here and measure down to the face, and I should have 2.53. So how I'm going to achieve that, I know I don't have the proper tools for this, but we're going to use a bore gauge, and I already have it set, and I already checked this, and this is what I'm getting. Right about here is a nice snug fit. And I have another true flat surface that I checked. I put this across here, like so. And it is indeed really close. Maybe a thousandth, maybe. This is going to be my best method of measuring that I have. I'll be able to take a straight edge, put it across here. I'll see if I can find a little better one. And I'll take another board gauge and I'll measure from here down. That should be center axle. Hopefully that makes sense. And that would be center of the axle. I'm taking, I'll set this to 2.536. I know you guys probably can't see this very well. Two, 5, 3, 6. All right, so as long as they put this one together correctly, if this measurement method is going to work, this here should be center. And actually, it works out perfect. So whoever set this rear up did a really good job. That is right on the money. I know you guys can't see it. I wish you could. Okay, so the new pinion gear is installed. I have about 9 thousandths worth of shims in there, I believe. I can measure them again once I take it out. It's a slip fit bearing that I used to set these up with. Same part number, same make bearings as I put it back together with. Except for you can fit everything together, shim it, space it. And I'm finally at 2.524. So 2.524. And then bring this up on here. I have this one measured out already for us, as you can see, hopefully. 2.524. And then if I go across here, and I measure my depth, I got a nice, just touches. I'm going to finish assembling the rear with these bearings in there. I could press it together, put everything on the back side together, but I want to do a pattern to make sure we're good. So I'm going to start with the same, since we were so close with the same spacers, the same shims that were under the old pinion, I'm going to start with the same shims that were on the carrier sides. So we're going to spread the case a little bit. Got the new bearings pressed on to the carrier, and we are going to install it. Okay, as you can see, the carrier is back in the case, and I installed the shim packs the same way we removed them. Same style bearings, same carrier. So our preload should be the same, as long as, you know, it seemed like the last bearings were in really good shape, so I'm going to keep the same preload. But I do have too much backlash. Let me show you. I'm ending up with about 16 thousandths. So I'm going to have to, so what I'm going to do is 5 thousandths at a time. Keeping the same shims, I'm just going to remove 5 thousandths from this side and add it to this side and get that ring and pinion a little tighter together. Try to take up some of this backlash, and I'm just going to do it 5 thousandths at a time until we get down to the correct backlash. So I'm running into a little trouble. In order to get the correct backlash, I got to move it over a little bit to the right. And you can see where they did machine work last time. And as I move it over, I start interfering with the case. And you can see where this one, you know, so I just got to give it a couple more thousandths clearance. You can see where I'm rubbing. I just, once I get it in there, I can get the backlash right, but this gets tight. And I got to make sure that isn't too tight. I don't want to preload it any. So I'm going to take a few more thousandths off here on what they did, and then I'll get back at you. Alright guys, I apologize for that once again. The video quality is probably going to change a little bit in the audio because I was using my phone to record up to this point, and I thought I was recording the marking because we have to put some marking compound on here to make sure our pattern's good, and as long as we measured correctly we should be okay. I did have to remove a shim, and I'm not sure how much of this video got lost, but I had too much. I had like 15 thousandths to start with. I wanted to move it a little bit closer, but as soon as I went to move it closer, I realized why they most likely didn't, because I had to machine more off of this side, because where this electric locker goes in, it was hitting the case in the back, because the case kind of flares inwards, as you can tell by the shape of the housing. I like to put a little bit of load, like hold pressure on the ring gear as I turn, because it makes a better impression. It's not that you have to do it, you can run it around, but sometimes you won't see it push the marking compound out for you. So that's the whole reason I add a little bit of pressure or put some kind of resistance in there. It's hard when you're by yourself, so I'll just put like a little bit of a resistance in there, and then I'll turn against that. And then the gear actually has to, you know, it has to work a little bit to get through that to get through that spot. It'll leave a better impression, hopefully. All right. I guess it isn't terrible. Hopefully you can see from where you're at, but to me it appears I'm somewhere around here and here. Makes sense? I don't know where that was. Just about. Hopefully that's showing up in the light. It's not too deep. I'm seeing the top. We're almost center. All right, now I'm going to go the other direction. Actually, I might leave it where it's at. I think I missed my mark. Alright, here's my mark coming around. Alright, you can see my marks now. I'm better than what I thought I was. I'm not sure if you're able to see the drive side, but we're about here and here. Actually, I might leave it. I've had this thing apart probably 7 times. I believe that leaves me plenty of room to grow, you know, out. Just the drive side's a little higher than I like it. And then I'll press it all together and clean everything up for final assembly. There should be. We are all cleaned, greased up, lubed up. This is the old crush collar. This is a new one. As you can see, she's a little squish, so we're gonna put a new one in right away. In other words, this is gonna be final assembly. Because after this, I just don't have it in me anymore, to be honest with you. I can only get it so close, if you know what I mean. Get a new nut at the same time. Oh, lordy, lordy. I can put the seal on next. I don't have to put the seal on right now, just in case I gotta take it back apart. I'm not gonna put the seal on yet. I'll get it all pressed together and then we'll put the seal on later. We got it anyway. I gotta get that bearing pushed back on. So, I got everything in there except for the seal. The seal I could take this back off. So, but that being said, I'm gonna press it together with the old nut. Okay, just like that. We're back. Old nut's on. Need the impact gun. Okay, and just like that, I got the seal knocked into the back. This is gonna be the fun part. This is not gonna be easy, but I have this special tool right here. This is gonna lock. I'm gonna hold the pinion with this while I crank on it and try to crush the collar. But I gotta find 2 bolts for here first, so I'll be back. Oh, getting there. That's why I'll stop and start using a torque wrench and stuff. But of course, it's like a pendulum now, this big old bar in the back. So it's gonna be much more freer. But I really can't use my torque wrench because it's a lot of weight, so I gotta take that off. But I know I'm close because it essentially almost holds the pendulum from bouncing. And then it doesn't keep on bouncing like it was before. So I'm getting there. What I want to see is where we're at with this pinion depth real quick. See where we're at. 2523. 2524. We're within 1,000ths. It's only going to get looser, it's not going to get tighter once I pull this rod off. So if I'm still not on my torque spec, I'm about 7. Okay, for used bearings, it's saying 8 to 14 inch-pounds. So I'm in the used range at the moment. New bearing, 16 to 28, so I'm going to put it up around 16. That feels better, actually. $18. All right, so we got to 18. So I didn't go too tight. New bearings, like I said. You don't want to go that tight with old bearings. But preload's all set. I also got a new axle seal. A bearing to go in here. So. already set the backlash, so I staggered the packs. Got this one for this side. We can actually start the cap. So down here gets this piece. This gets turned up. I do gotta put a piece of heat shrink wrap on this one wire for the locker. You don't want this spinning with the rear, you know, because the wires will just tangle up.
Right.
So you got this one piece of metal that's pretty important.
Yeah, I guess so.
That's all that does once you tighten it up.
Okay.
Just keeps
Spinning.
Keeps that from spinning. Nothing's tight because I gotta get this one. All right, so this one we spaced out. I might have to spread the case a little bit more. Yeah, okay so far. Right, we're getting closer now. You see how it's spun? Yeah. All right, so now we have everything in. It's torqued to spec. Backlash is set. 9 thousandths. It's the best I could get it. I can't hear because I have keyboard on right now. Checked it all the way around. Now it's time to install the axle. These ones are a pain because it has this aftermarket center section in it. And I got a C-clip. Yeah, get it on there, and then we gotta pry it to get it go up that taper, if that makes sense. And then once we get it so far, it'll start clipping in. But I got a little bit of grease around here. Got the new seal installed. If I had a straight spline, that would have sucked, right?
For sure.
Alright. It's going to be a little tricky, like I said. Ooh, so close. Almost had her start it there, Andy. So, we got this axle lock. It's going to go in the taper side facing in. Always make sure these bushings here are good. That's a failure point. Like so. Spin it. This axle's got this thrust washer on it. Got the bearing in and lubed up. Alright, make sure you put the thrust washer on. Boom. This one get just squared up that way. Put this in through here. Get the C-clip. Alright, so let's test the vacuum actuator. As you can see at the moment, we're spinning it, but it's not spinning that axle. So we'll take our vacuum pump. Put it on here like this, and start spinning it. We'll start pumping it, and there you go. You see she locks in. Now you want to take it out of 4-wheel drive. You don't unlock that axle. There it goes. There she goes. Alright. So, surprise, surprise. Make sure she holds vacuum. As you see, it is. That means that diaphragm's still good. Alright guys, I know I skipped around a little bit, but that's going to be it for this video. I'll catch you next time.